Hawaii's most valuable player for the past 2 years has been Scott Harding, a 28-year-old former professional Australian rules football player who began his college football career in 2011 after signing with the Rainbow Warriors. Unlike the rest of Hawaii's football recruits, Harding had never played a down of American football until his first practice at UH. What sports did you play growing up as a child?
I played Australian football growing up mainly. I started that when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and then I played a bit of cricket in Australia, which you don't have here, but so I played cricket and tennis, basketball, pretty much played it all really, but towards the end of my kind of schooling and that, I pretty much narrowed it down to just playing Australian football.
So was it always your childhood dream to play Australian football?
Yeah, it became more and more of a dream, towards my, through my teens and that, going through high school. It's kind of when I started to kind of realise, I guess, my potential in that sport, and then so the other sports kind of fell by the wayside a little bit.
Oh, nice. Did you ever think you'd be playing American football?
No, not at that point. Definitely not. No, at that point I didn't even really know the sport at all, I guess. I only really started to take much notice when I started playing pro football and started to see it on TV a bit more.
So tell us a story about how you became a Rainbow Warrior.
Well, basically, so I played Australian football professionally out of high school for 6 years. I played for the Brisbane Lions for 5 years, and then for Port Adelaide Power for 1 year, and then after that, I thought, I wanted to try something different, and I wouldn't say I fell out of love with the game, but I just kind of felt like I wanted to try something different, and I felt like American football kind of suited the type of athlete I was, I guess. Australian football was very much kind of a running kind of game, kind of like soccer. It's kind of continuous and that kind of thing, and didn't really enjoy the running side of Australian football so much. But I was lucky enough to play professionally and have a nice career out of it. But and so I guess I just I put my feelers out there, and I knew that Hawaii had a punter here, Alex Hernandez, who was the previous punter before me, and he was an Aussie guy, and so there's that kind of link there to come here, and so I came over here and met the coaches, and yeah, went from there. Wow.
So how was your first day at practice like here at UH?
It was funny actually. So my first practice was the first day of fall camp. So I only got to Hawaii, I think maybe a few days before camp started. So I really hadn't met anyone, or really didn't really get a crash course into football at all. So I was thrown into the deep end, which is sometimes the best way. But yeah, it was funny. I didn't really even know how to put pads on, and what went first and whatever. So I had to get my locker buddy to kind of help me out, and he got me all dressed and set up. So yeah, it's pretty funny.
So what was the transition like going from Australian rules football to American football?
At first it was tough, just because I didn't really know the kind of theory side of American football, and learning the concepts and the playbook was really tough for me at first, because in Australian football, it's, you just pretty much just kind of go play. Really, it's something you kind of brought up with. But in this sport, obviously, you got to know what you're doing before you can even take the field. So it was tough at first, and that fall camp was a tough one. I had to spend a lot of extra time learning the ropes and that kind of thing. But I mean, catching balls and catching punts was kind of the easy part for me. It was more just learning the game and pretty much learning how to play football.
So what are some of the similarities and differences in like punting techniques between the Australian and American football?
Well, the way I punt it, for Hawaii here is pretty similar, I guess, to how I kicked it back home. And I guess the only difference is when back home in Australia, the way you kick it is a means of getting to someone else. So I'll actually kick the ball to someone else who's on the run somewhere, or running into some space, and I'll try and kick it, to put it in space for him to catch it. So it was a bit more directional, and obviously trying to, it's almost like a quarterback pass really. He's trying to throw someone open. So I was used to kind of kicking it to specific spots on the field, and I guess that's kind of translated a little bit into how I punt now, where I can kind of direct the ball away from the returner, and kind of try and pinpoint it in an area and trying to make it stop in a certain area, which has worked for us pretty well.
Awesome. So when you were signed to UH, you were just a pure athlete. Like you had no set positions for you. Like how was that? What position were you hoping to play?
Yeah, I didn't really know, honestly. I came here just to try it out and see if they, I guess, like my athletic ability, and they did. And at that point, they didn't really know what position I'd play either. So I remember my first meeting when they were introducing the freshmen. They made the freshmen stand up and introduce themselves, where they're from, and what position they play. And so I had to stand up and I said, I'm Scott Harding from Brisbane, Australia, and I don't know what position I play. So I got everyone laughing, and so I think the coaches they understood the fact that I could catch the ball pretty well, and it was pretty natural for me. So it was a pretty quick decision to start me at receiver.
So from then all the way till today, like, did you think that you would be a starter in 3 different positions?
Oh, not at all. No, I mean, at that point I didn't even know whether I'd be able to make the team. So it's been a pretty cool journey, just coming from not knowing a thing to starting 3 positions. But originally I started off doing the punt return because obviously I found I was comfortable under the ball and comfortable catching punts, just like I was playing Australian football. And then slowly started to learn the ropes of playing receiver. And then when these new coaches came along, Coach Demarest, the special teams coach, I guess he found the punting something that he could work with, and it's been another weapon for us.
Awesome. So how does it feel to be chosen as one of the 10 semi-finalists for the Ray Guy Award?
I guess it's cool. I mean, it's an honor, definitely. It's good to be appreciated, I guess, for the success we've had. But I mean, it's not only me. Our punt team is really good. For us, it's a simple thing for us to execute, and it's extremely difficult for them to defend. So, which makes my job pretty easy. Like I said, I've kicked all my life. So, for me, it's not necessarily something difficult for me to do. But the guys that protect for me, and the guys that get down and cover and make a play on the ball, and they've really bought into it, and obviously I really appreciate those guys, because it's pretty much on them as well, the fact that I guess I've had the individual recognition, but and Coach Demo obviously has come up with all those schemes that we've got, and all the motions and formations and all the different stuff that we have that really makes it hard for the defending team. So but it's great. I mean, it's great to know that I'm one of the semi-finalists, I guess, and we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. So how has your time here in Hawaii been, and how does your journey or playing for the Rainbow Warriors been for you?
I've loved it. I mean, coming from Australia, it's a lot different, and I didn't know anyone here, and Hawaii's really brought me into their family, and they've been really good to me. It's been a great team to play for, and it's just got a great spirit around this team, and I love the fans that support me and support the team, and it's something I'm definitely going to miss.